Gabe gets the ball tomorrow and, hasn't made a start in college baseball, but he's got all these All-American honors coming in. I mean, how have you seen him deal with these expectations this year?
Yeah, he gets the ball Friday. No, I'm not playing tomorrow, as far as I know. I mean, you may know more than I do. I don't know. uh, it's Gabe. You got to know Gabe. He is just, this is the guy that's getting all this recommendation and about how great he is and what he's going to do in preseason this. And I think that I don't think it'll affect him. Now he's going to have his great days. He's going to have some good days, and he'll have a day or two and doesn't go great. He's been here a year and a half, and our hitters have only got him one time, and that was last weekend. And he was not happy about it. In his bullpen the other day, I think he had a little something to prove, and Coach Hobbs said it was amazing, just because he's not happy with the way he pitched. And so that's going to happen. He's human, but we're hoping that it doesn't affect him. That's what we see, his personality, his makeup, work ethic. He doesn't say a whole lot. Um, he's not a rah-rah guy. Now, he can get fired up if he gets a big out when he needs it, but he's been through all the situations. I mean, we brought him in. You think about last year down in Arlington, we bring him in with the bases loaded and I don't know, one out against Oklahoma State or no outs, and he gets out of it. He might have got one call that went our way on a full count, but other than that, I mean, he's been amazing. So he's been in tough situations starting. That's what he did his whole life, and highly touted coming out of high school, and he made a decision that I'm going to college, and it's going to pay off for him.
How do you envision? I know it's early, but Christian Fouch this weekend moving forward, I mean, is it really the goal to kind of get him to be able to pitch twice a weekend or maybe two innings and one appearance? I mean, how do you envision using him this year?
I think that sometimes throughout the year we'll use him twice. I don't think it'll be back to back with him. It could be Friday, Sunday. If we just use him to get out a hitter in the bottom of the ninth on the road on a Saturday and we play again Sunday, maybe we can go again. So he'll be tested on that a little bit. Example, this past weekend we threw him on Friday. We played, what did we do? Two scrimmages, kind of broke up on Saturday. Didn't go Sunday. Well, the idea was two or three of those guys come back and throw Sunday. But since we didn't go Sunday, the guys came up here and finished out like an inning. They came up and got loose, and they went full bore for an inning, X amount of pitches inside, just to simulate what you're talking about. So, we're going to use him whenever he's ready to go, we'll use him.
Cole Gilbert had a couple of rough outings. He said he was working on some mechanics afterward, came back pretty good. Just what does that tell you about him as a freshman that he was able to do that?
Well, we loved it. We kind of made the comment, well, Cole's back. We need him. He almost had the immaculate inning. He struck out at first hitter on 3 pitches, struck out the second hitter on 3 pitches, had the third hitter down 0-2, and he made contact. And it was a ground ball to second or something. And that was the inning. Very rare. I don't think I've ever seen it. And probably have. Smith probably did it. But he had a great inning, and we let that roll. We shut him down. He's one of the guys we're going to throw again. But it says a lot about, him. He was, again, these guys take it personal, and he's fiery. We've tried to calm him down a little bit, the adrenaline thing. It can be a good thing, but it can also, it takes you out of the zone. And his stuff's good enough where he doesn't have to come in there with fire coming out of his nose. You know what I'm saying? He's good. And so we're just glad that he showed us and our team that was just a bad outing. And it happens. And that's why you have more than 6 or 7 pitchers. You see that. Now we've seen it. If we see it early, we can get him. And maybe he won't recover that day. So then we get him back out there the next day or two.
And Wiggins, I think you started him the first couple of weeks of the preseason, and I think you closed him this past weekend. Is that intentional? Kind of give him a taste of what it would look like in that role?
Yeah, I think, the starting part first is, I feel like he can be a starter here. And, he could start on Tuesday. He could start on the weekend. Still got to learn some of the other things like finishing hitters off, and it's about location is I mean, it was really cold the other day, and he's touching 98 like it's nothing. He looks like he's playing catch. A lot of talent there, a lot of potential. He's still young, still learning. But yeah, get him a little bit of feel for starting, but at the same time, get him some feel of coming out of that bullpen and getting a big out or giving us 2 innings, whatever the case may be. And that's why we play a lot of preseason games. We got some really good teams. Those guys are going to get to show us what we need to do down the road. And our goal is to try to get it figured out as best we can before we go to Ole Miss.
I have one quick one. Thank you. I know we're going to talk to Diggs and McIntyre in a minute, but what do those guys mean to this program? How valuable are they on the field and off the field as well?
Well, obviously, having guys in your program that have been here for a few years is very valuable with the new guys coming in, whether they're freshmen or transfers, just to maybe reflect on what's gone on, seasons gone by when they've been here. Those guys have been to Omaha. They've been eliminated in their own regional twice. They've had the highest of highs and lowest of lows, and they both struggled. Max struggled after being first comes in here. We don't even really acknowledge him, and then few conversations. We give him the ball. Next thing you know, he's going on Tuesdays the rest of the year. Next thing you know, it he's pitching his tail off in Omaha. So you just never know how it's going to go. And Kendall's been in and out of the lineup and full-time starter since he was a freshman, has the injury and batting average drops 150 points. We keep playing him. And if he hadn't got hurt, he wouldn't be here. He would have been drafted and probably could have been anyway if he would have signed for not much. And they would have healed him up and he'd be at spring training. But he decided to come back. So having those two in our locker room is big. And I think, again, I keep calling it modern day Division I baseball. Having some guys that have been in your program for a couple, 3 years I think it's just big for the rest of the team.
Got one more with Will. I know you've had great players from all over the country, you got guys from Australia and Canada this year. Just when you get an in-state guy like Will who grew up loving the Razorbacks, just is there value to that? Like, how much does that help a guy like that whenever he comes in here and he's grown up around the program and everything?
Well, I think it's huge for your program. In-state kids, and I say this all the time. We want to get all the best players in the state. Sometimes we may miss on one or one develops later. All these new rules and roster cuts, it makes it difficult. You got to have kids that really want to be here. But if you can get an in-state player that grown up, coming to some of our games, whether they're from 3 or 4 hours away or right down the street, you can just see a little bit of a difference. A guy like Wood, he bleeds Razorback red, and we appreciate that. And I think the players see that. And you guys got guys that are here for 1 year. We hope we can instill some of that in them. They followed us from afar, and they've seen, our games on TV, and probably thought, wow, it'd be fun to play there. We end up getting them. We hope they end up having, a little bit of that inside of them, that they love being here because, it's important to our fans and the state. But the in-state kids, we still need to get as many of those guys as we can. And again, with the new rules, it makes it more difficult because we have to make sure that we're getting a guy that can compete at the highest level in this league. And this league is, I say it every year, but it's going to be super old. And I haven't said that about it being old. I've just said it gets better. And it does get better because the draft used to be 40 rounds and now it's 20. Kids can transfer. Some of this, you can fill in some of the spots, and you hope you get the right makeup guy. And the days of, I guess, 3 freshmen or 2 freshmen starting in the field and 1 starter on the weekend, and maybe 2 or 3 in the bullpen that are big pieces, maybe a lot. It's a lot less than it used to be. You're going to see a lot of teams that are sophomores, a couple, and then maybe 1 freshman sneaks in, but it's going to be juniors, seniors, a lot of juniors. And it's the same way this year with our league. I mean, if you go around and you look at, A&M, that's number 1 in every poll, they filled in with some guys they got some guys to come back that were draft eligible, which was amazing. And you guys can figure out how. And LSU did, and Tennessee, and I mean Auburn and Ole Miss. I mean, you just go and you look at the rosters, and you're going, wow, they're all juniors, and there's a good chunk of them, and the same with ours. We've lost our starting outfield, every one of them, the last 3 years, whether mostly through the draft or ran out of eligibility. It makes it tough. So teams are old, teams are good.
Good. Coach, thanks for your time.
Okay.